Okay, we're good to go. All right. Namaste and welcome. And I'm just going to try to say hi to everybody I can see. Hi, Patricia. Well, it's not too bad. I can see all the way into the back row. Good. Okay. And to those of you on Crowdcast, welcome. Namaste. So this is to be the first evening of a 9-day retreat here at the Art of Living Center in Boone, North Carolina. This is actually not my first trip to North Carolina, but it's definitely my first trip to Boone and to this retreat center. And this is, you could call it magnificent. It is huge. We're used to Camp Galilee on Lake Tahoe, where we sleep in bunk beds. So this is definitely a different atmospheric condition here. So I do miss Lake Tahoe. So those of you who are interested, April, 9-day Lake Tahoe. Anyway, so tonight I'm Satyamayi, for those of you who don't know who I am. And I've been with Shree as we've been married for just about 33 years. And we worked together. We founded New Dharma. So when he finished his work with Bhagavan in India for 6 years, he came back. And at some point, we started the nonprofit. We founded the nonprofit and slowly have built this up. And because of many people who are sitting here in this room, we're now in India and Europe. So that was quite a surprise, but it's really nice. So, and I'm welcoming a number of people here because we have a couple of people from the UK. We have some people from Sweden and Copenhagen. And do we have anyone from Amsterdam? I see this. Oh, Finland. Yes. So, thank you, Scott. All right. So what we're going to do tonight is we do what is called orientation and set the intent, which means that we go over the entire schedule, answer any questions, actually provide the container. This is where we start the program. This is where each of us comes into alignment with ourselves, with the purpose of being there, being here, being the purpose of the workshop. And then when Shree comes in, he then takes us into a whole different level of container. So we're going to start here. So for those of you, I think most of you at home also have access on the participant page to the materials. So we're going to start off by just looking at the schedule. And it's a 9-day retreat, so the schedule is a lot of pages. And I have my trusty pen for if by any chance we find any mistakes. Never happens. Actually, they're not mistakes. They're just, oh, look, we need to make a correction. Okay, so this is day 1, Friday. We've done check-in and room assignments. We had dinner. We had an orientation for the environment, and now it's 7:30 or a little past, and this is the orientation and set the intent. Tomorrow, day 2, meditation begins at 6 a.m. until 8 a.m. in this room. When we're done tonight with the setting the intent, Jan is going to come forward and work with you on how the room gets set up for the 3 meditations tomorrow, and then how we remake the room for the talk in the evening. So we're getting pretty good at this. I think the only rule is that if you're around the edge, if Shree doesn't see you, he may move you. But other than that, if you're in a chair, you're in the back. There's back jacks that you can have in the front, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Jan will give you much more information. 8 to 9 is breakfast, 9 to 11 personal time, and we're back in here at 11 until 1. Lunch is 1 to 2. Then we have really personal time, free time until 4, where you're back in here for meditation number 3. Now, this is where things have changed a bit. We now have a 6 to 8 dinner and personal time break at the end of the evening, and then the program goes from 8 until 10. Yes. Shree experimented with this in Mundakula and found that people were actually more alert later. So it worked. Okay, Sunday will be the same schedule. Okay. Okay, this is where it shifts a little bit. So actually on Sunday night, so those of you who are used to what we do and then we have some who are new, we always have small groups. So we have 4 small groups that we will announce on Sunday night, but I am going to just point out the small group leaders and just stand up briefly so they know who you are. We have Amanda, we have Carl, we have Savitri, and we have Paula. So on Sunday night, these 4 people, we will then tell you which group you're in. Okay, because on day 4, you will see why. So the morning is pretty much the same. 6 a.m. meditation, breakfast, personal time, 11 to 1 meditation, 1 to 2 lunch, 2 to 4 personal time, 4 to 6. You'll either be here in meditation or you'll be meeting in the Arjun, A-R-J, or A-R-G-U-N building or room with Shree. That will be small group 1. It is on your map. So you can, if you just walk across the street, if you just went straight up to the kids' playground, there's a building there, and it's Arjun Upper. So you go up the stairs. And to your left, is that right? Okay. Room number 20. Paula, thank you. That makes it easier. I know, because we kind of went wandering around. Okay, and then 8 to 10, where Shree will be doing, this is where he really does he sets not only is he setting the energy, but he is doing remembrance. He is giving right information. It's an opportunity. Sometimes he opens it up to the hot seat, and sometimes he doesn't, but he's still open to questions. Okay, Tuesday, day 5 already. That the change will be small group number 2. We'll meet with Shree. On Wednesday, same schedule, but we have small group number 3 meeting. Did I say 3 before? I meant 2. Okay. Thursday on the next page is day 7. And at 4 o'clock, you will have small group number 4 meeting with Shree. Okay. Day 8, we go back to the original program, which is morning meditation, and then we'll have 11 o'clock meditation, and then we go back to 4 o'clock meditation. And at 8 to 10 is the last large group meeting. And usually we try to begin the completion. And then Saturday, day 9, which will come quicker than you think it will, is 6 to 8 meditation, 8 to 9 breakfast. At 11 o'clock, we have checkout, and it says luggage may be stored at reception. There'll be more information given to you when we get closer. And then from 11 to 1 is completion. And then 1 to 1:30, we have lunch and goodbyes. Okay. Yes, Paula. Oh, are you using this? Is that what was handed to you? Okay, you have to use the handout that went around the room. Yeah, because what happened was, he approved the schedule. It went here, and then he changed it. So it happens. We do our best. Yeah, Anne. Sometimes if you raise your hand during some. Yeah, he'll either say yes or no. Yeah, or he'll tell you to come up to the front of the room. Yeah, Catherine. Yes, what will happen is when you meet with your small groups, there will be a schedule created so that you'll be having one possibly 2 meetings outside of your meeting with Shree, and that's the period, that's the time that's set aside for that. And the small group leaders get together and make the schedules, so they'll tell you in that meeting. So that's why we leave that open. Thanks for asking. Okay. All right. Guidelines, my favorite thing. Okay. All right, the following guidelines are meant to assist you and your fellow participants in getting the most value possible out of this program. So review the retreat schedule. Show up at least 10 minutes prior to each session. If you oversleep, if it's 10 minutes or more past the time the program starts, stay in your room, okay? So usually up to 10 minutes if you've missed the beginning. Come into the room. That's perfectly fine. But if it looks like it's 10 minutes, don't plan it, but it may happen. Just know, that if that happens, just stay in your room. It's perfectly okay. Remain silent at all times during the retreat, except at work sessions. This is a silent retreat. Do your best to keep your silence. Write notes to each other if possible, but try to keep it, Don't have a whole conversation with notes if you can help it. You'll have a chance to speak during your small groups, and that's really what that's for is, things are coming up. You can either write a note to Shree, but the small groups are there and the facilitators know how to work with this. Okay, all communications are to be writing and only if there is a necessity. Any problems or questions are to be communicated to Jan Kershaw, raise your hand. And then we have Lucy Clymer. And we have Paula Kingslover. Okay, so these are the 3 people that if there's a question, you can see them. You either write them a note or if it's too lengthy, we call this conditional silence. You can speak to them if there's an emergency. Okay? We will also have a group of people who, if while you're in the meditation and something comes up that you just are having a lot of difficulty handling and you need to talk to someone, we ask that you so we have Saraswati, who's here, Aja over here, Jan, and Tom. So when we're in meditation and you feel that you can't hold something in, if you could just walk over to them and just lightly tap them on the shoulder, and you can go into the back of the room or even into the front. Okay. Turn off and do not use electronic devices such as cell phone, computer, iPad. I know many people use their cell phone for an alarm. So that means that you are on, you are on the honor system. So if you're going to use it for your alarm, just keep it on airplane mode or whatever you do these days. I'm not techie. Okay. Kindle use is okay for spiritual books. We ask that you do not fast during the retreat. And no sex, smoking, drugs, or alcohol. Okay. Other suggestions. Honor what you are trying to create for yourself during this retreat. You spent a lot of time and money to come here. Be in your silence. Use this time for yourself. Strive to accept the conditions of the retreat. Your room, the bathrooms, that's different. Your roommates, the meals, and everything else as an opportunity to let go of your preferences and habits. Notice your reactions, feelings, and thoughts. Record these down along with any insights, revelations, or realizations. You can leave notes for Shree in the basket in the back of the room, marked notes for Shree. He will usually, within 1 or 2 meditations, respond back to you. So what you want to do is put the stuff in there and then just check, because we'll have them laid outside the basket so you'll know that it's been responded to. Okay, any questions about these guidelines? Okay, silent sitting. Silent sitting is not necessarily meditation. It is a conscious effort to be still and silent, outwardly and inwardly. There will be 3 silent sittings each day of 2 hours each. Here are the guidelines. Remain inwardly silent and outwardly quiet as possible. Do not leave the room during the sitting. You may leave the room after Shree has left. No leaving to go to the bathroom. Please do so just before the sitting. And apparently, that's where all the bathrooms are, right over here. He talked about it in orientation. I was like, great. Okay. Move as little as possible. If you need to move or change positions, do so slowly and as quietly as possible. You can stand in your seat to stretch if you need to. Make as little noise as possible. If you need to cough or sneeze, do so into a cloth or your elbow to reduce the sound. The cloth is preferable. So if you have like a towel or a shawl, you can bring with you because it will muffle the noise better. We ask you to try not to fall asleep. It's not always possible, but do your best. All right, snoring, drooling, spontaneous body movements, and many more occur. Do not touch anyone. Only Shree can do this. Okay. Oh, this is something got put in here twice. I didn't catch that. Okay. You can sit on the, in the meditations, you can sit on the floor or in chairs. So we have back jacks. There's a bunch of other stuff in the corners. You can recline, but no laying down. So reclining no more than 45-degree angle. Otherwise, you're just going to go to sleep. No drinks except bottled water in the meditation area, which means something that has a lid on it. This is a wooden floor. So if you have a metal bottle, this is going to wake up the room. So a lot of times people will put a sock on it or cover it with a cloth. So metal's fine as long as you contain the sound. Okay, we ask that there's no reading or writing and that you conduct no other spiritual practices during the silent sitting, such as mantras or prayers without prior consent from Shree. The other thing that came up is there's a lot of activities here. Shree has okayed yoga as the only outside activity or the fitness room. Okay? So you can go to the fitness room, you can do yoga, but no massages. Yeah, Julia. Let's ask him when he comes back. Shree, are you going to say yes or no to a sauna? And they say no. Okay. But he says yes to yoga classes and the fitness rooms are okay. Nope. Nope. I can tell you that right away. Okay. Yoga, yes. Yoga. But you're going to be in here meditation. That will completely interfere with, and I know you don't want to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Burma. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So if you can actually, yeah, as long as you're not doing it during the silent sitting. But I used to keep my notebook in the back of my back jack so that when I came out of my meditation, if I had something to write, I could remember it. Otherwise, forget it. So, yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Saraswati, do I have everything? Okay, we got it. Okay, the last thing is our silent sitting exercises. The following are recommended exercises to practice during each silent sitting. Conscientiously withdraw your attention from the outer circumstances. You can do this by closing your eyes or leaving them open, but not focusing on anything. Become aware of your body. Notice what is going on in your body. Try to identify its source. Hint, its origin is not outside of yourself. Become aware of your breathing. It may help to consciously breathe. Become aware of the energy in your body. Become aware of any pressure, pain, or other sensation. Focus your attention on that. Listen to what it is saying. Notice what resists being present. Record your insights. Shree, I'm finished. Okay. Are there any other questions that we might have? Okay. I don't think there's anything else. Thank you. Perfect timing. Pretty good.
So I noticed 3 chairs are empty.
It's because there are 3 extra chairs.
So I counted 29 people in the room.
No, we should have 32, including you and me.
Okay.
I think everybody's here.
I don't want to start until all the beings who are scheduled to be here are here. So any
They're all
missing
here.
beings, please raise your hands. No, not you.
Funny.
Well, part of it is the nature of what we're doing. We're actually creating together a vessel for this opportunity, an intentional alignment among all of us. In order for to set in motion the next interval or the next trajectory of your journey. This is the interval in which that trajectory can be set. If you so choose it. And those of you who are familiar with my teachings know that for all the capacity of the teachings and the force that comes through me, without your conscious collaboration, it will all fall to naught. It is our co-creation. So that's the opportunity here together. I know almost all of you well enough to know that you came here with a purpose and an intention. Almost all of you have done programs with me before. And so you're here to move into greater alignment with that which has brought you into this room. Not only the course of your life, but the course of your seeking and the course of your relationship with me and this particular opportunity that I bring into the world. And we've just partook in a collective effort in consciousness to put in a correction of the movement going on in the collective consciousness. And it's had quite an impact energetically on myself and most who are connected to me. And it's been a successful intervention. It's not perfect, not complete, but we've been able to put in a correction in a course that otherwise would likely throw the baby out with the bathwater, or would take so many decades to recover from that it wouldn't actually be relevant for the spiritual opportunity for mankind for the rest of our lifetimes. So there's more going on here than your aspiration and your seeking and your purpose. It's clearly now a full recognition that this work is contributing, making a difference to an unfolding of the possibility of mankind. And each of us, each of you in this room have an opportunity to consciously collaborate with this. Now, I know that when I went to India for those first 6 years, and actually the first 9 years, I had no clue of what difference it made in my own spiritual journey. But after those 2009, I woke up. I woke up to the fact that I had come to a place where what the quality of what I was going to be able to make a difference for the world in a way that I never could as an undeveloped spiritual being, despite as a human being, myself being interested in these things. Until I had done the work, I really could not make the difference. So my work with you is actually our work together as humanity. So this is our context. Now bringing it down, see, if you have a larger vision, then all your little moanings and groanings, all your complaints and dissatisfactions, all your self-diminishments and judgments and projections, all the endless litany of descriptors of what it is to be a human ego are not particularly relevant. They're just a sound of the wind blowing through the leaves of human inclinations, causing them to rustle, groan, complain, ruminate, and imagine. So here, you could say, is the opportunity to ground ourselves, to root ourselves into a fundamental quality of being, condition of being, that is purposeful and aligned with something greater than itself. And right now you may know that as devotion, you may know that as a longing for truth, an aspiration, a cry from those structures that keep sucking you back into your diminished and contracted conditions of being, a cry to come out of what you have been in this life. From that grounded place, miracles happen. It's a healing that starts from within, not a without trying to heal the within, but from the within healing, moving out into our more surface personality, to our habits, to our lived life. So all of my work, all of it, is to set you on a trajectory, an unfolding of the possibility of what you are as a spiritual being, in existence as a human being, so that you can bring it into your lived life. And it's within that paradigm, it's within the paradigm I've just spoken, that this program occurs. This relatively small group, which is great, kind of self-selected.
This used to be a big group for us.
Yeah. Self-selected, but the 9 days have always been smaller. This is only the second 9-day, and I think we had just a few more in the first one earlier in the year. So that you've qualified because you're here. You made it. And if I'm right, there's 3 missing. Well, there you go.
No.
Okay, there's not. So you might say that more is being asked of you, or actually the invitation is larger for our time together here, and what that might look like and what that might be. No matter what your experiences have been before, no matter if you've gone through the great wonders of an awakening and expansion in your relationship with me, or if it's all gone away and you're wondering, what the fuck am I doing here? They're all part of the same trajectory. Each of those are stages. If you are recognizing it's a trajectory, then you don't lose the momentum. That is what happens when you continue to participate in these programs and keep expanding your ability to collaborate with your own enlightenment, in your own freedom, in your own connection to that divine principle that governs you and all of existence. I can't express how plain to me it is that this serves you. It serves you in a way you can't fully know until you have traveled some distance on this journey. But it won't serve your ego. It won't serve your habits and your shallow orientation to yourself and the world. It won't serve those part of you that is constantly in indecision and trying to have it its own way or trying to control. It won't serve the structures that are trying to preserve what you know already or what you have experienced already. That's just the nature of the beast. And so, of course, it will be uncomfortable at times. Of course, it may seem that this is not working or not serving in the way you understood things to work or to serve. When you step out of the box of what you've known, the part of you that would evaluate or compare or judge is no longer going to be sufficient. I like to say, once you get out of that boundary, then the curse becomes the blessing and the blessing becomes the curse. You then discover a complete new relationship to your life than the one you've been habituated to up to now, where you're no longer seeking to hold on to those things that you held dear and precious and cherished and sought to protect. And you start seeking out that which you do not yet know. And in the process, the discovery of that which you do not yet know enlivens you, inspires you, motivates you to go beyond the limits of what you have known, the limits of the old judger, perceiver, evaluator, comparison, to find a new set of criteria for measuring your journey, including the one that's called, I don't know what the hell's happening. It's a good criteria to clearly know you don't know and to be willing. Because what would be willing is that divine quality in you coming up from its root and being felt in this surface personality that you are. So this is our endeavor. And we've created a structure over the years that supports you and supports this purpose. This is the more restrictive program, probably the most restrictive of any of the programs. It's a place where you turn inward, you break from your life for these 9 days at least, to interject, to cut the thread of your past or the projection of your future so that all that's left for you is this now, this here, this eternal, unchanging moment of now, which is the most powerful moment for creating or bringing into existence that which you don't yet know, the knowing of which is the purpose of your existence. So I asked, and we are asked, and we've been speaking to how you can honor that, make that sacred. So there's not somebody hanging over you telling you what to do, but you yourself listen to that part of you that's saying, no, this isn't the right thing to do. Yes, this is the right thing to do. The one that restrains the usual impulses that feed the old way of being. So you honor the silence. You stay outwardly silent, not speaking, as much as possible, if not complete. It's not all circumstances that you can control that. But you also do this not to set it up so that you beat yourself up if you don't. That does not serve either. But rather that you willingly strive to come into a relationship with existence that is simple, silent, and still. That it takes advantage of the intervals between the meals to do something other than anticipate the next meal, to something other than just how am I going to fill the time? How am I going to pass this time? But rather to stay in the listening, the willingness, the openness of not having anything in particular to do. Now, this is going to be anti-intuitive for most of you. And it's good to catch that part of you that keeps looking to fill the time, to try to make it useful, to make it significant. This is actually finding the significance in the insignificant. To finding the most obvious that you would notice if you weren't so distracted. To be aware of the fact that you're breathing. To take moments out and just breathe. Be aware of yourself having a body, feeling cold, feeling comfortable or uncomfortable, whatever else may be going on. Let your body, like a child, be that which is in relationship with existence without an adult agenda, without a bunch of structures of how you had to be in the course of your life and how they still run you. So we're staying in a retreat facility, Art of Living.
Art of living.
Is that what it is? Yeah. That's what I said. Art of Living. Ravi Shankar. Guy's dead, but he left behind all this debris. And there are going to be other people with other agendas going on here, by the way. There are other people with other agendas, and they're not your agenda. So you're going to be the brightest lights in the area. And whatever is still in need of the light will seek you out. They'll want to talk to you. They'll want to influence your dreams. They want to help shape your evaluation of what's happening to you or not happening to you. So stay within yourself. There is nothing greater, there's nothing lesser, but there are those things that are aligned and those things that aren't aligned. And your opportunity with me is to be completely aligned with this opportunity between yourselves and myself and the Supreme Being. You let that in. Let that step in and be felt, and all will be perfect. It's all perfect, but it'll be more perfect when you're consciously collaborating. Okay. All right, so that's my warm-up speech. As we talk here, we'll go over more details of what is the particular nature of the 9-day retreat.
And let's
And-
talk about how we're going to work at the front of the room. Because
Okay.
this is different than a
Yeah.
6-day or
All right.
satsang or
Yeah.
intensive.
So since the focus of most of our programs, Satyamayi and I are in collaboration as the Purusha and the Prakriti. But in this program, more so than others, I am really going to go into my Purusha. I'm just really going into the impersonal absolute principle.
I get to read the paper.
She'll hold the space, she'll give instructions, she'll be the form that will hold the energy when I'm having to talk or interact with you, but there will be quite a bit less in the total amount of time we'll spend together. Most of our time will be in the field of the Sat force, either the Sat itself or its force, Satchitananda. So it's a singularness in this way. It is the one principle from which everything emerged. It's the foundational reality from which all of creation arose. It is the ultimate realization. It is the ultimate place that we can reach or connect to. It is the root of the creation. It's that which existed prior to existence. And this is not an abstraction. This is actually something that can be felt. It has a credible, effective force associated with it, which works from the inside out, from the cells and the nervous system, from the biochemistry, from the electromagnetic field of your body. It starts shifting, it starts irrigating, irritating, and irradiating your body to awaken it, to prepare it, to become more and more effective instrument and channel of itself. It's a cellular transformation. And that is what happened to me when I awakened and went to India. And that is what ultimately is the process of those who can align themselves with me in this particular transmission. Okay. All right. So, Satyamayi, you want to begin to read?
Retreat manual. Make sure.
We're going to be reading the
I'm going to
retreat
pop my
manual.
water too. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. We're going to be on page 1 of 3. It says retreat manual. There we are. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. This 9-day silent retreat is not only a retreat from the world of demand, distraction, and responsibilities, it is also a retreat from the habit of our egoic self in order to more firmly establish our divine nature. To create value for yourself, a silent retreat requires a commitment on your part to follow the structure and to surrender yourself to the program. It is an opportunity to let go more deeply inward and to relinquish, to let go in ways you have not yet done. It is an opportunity to shed the habit of your ego and enter deeply into that field of being that lives you, your eternal self.
Okay, continue.
Know the Sat. Silence and stillness are the qualities of the Sat and also the means to attaining it. The purpose of this retreat is to introduce you to the Sat by sitting in the silence and stillness. The Sat is the unchanging, eternal reality that is the source of us and of all existence. During this 9-day retreat, the Sat will become more and more present. A force will be released and felt consciously or unconsciously. This force is called Satchitananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. This force will put pressure on your system. This pressure may expand your awareness and cause spiritual experiences, or you may experience nothing. You may experience blocks, disturbing feelings or thoughts, or not notice anything at all. This pressure is likely to push to the surface the obscurity, resistance, and barriers to the thought and its force. These are like debris on the rising plume of an erupting volcano. If this happens, you will have to experience these experiences. Any or all of these can happen.
Okay. So quite a few of you have come from a fair distance. Some of you are going to be going through jet lag. You may have just that natural kind of bodily realigning of yourself into this place on the planet this time. So all that is recognized as part of this journey here, to bring that and to include that. You're not going to be able to change those things. They're going to be going on. But you can look to make sure you're awake to come to each of the programs, the meditation sittings, coming here 10 minutes early. You're not necessarily initially going to have the state you're used to or you would prefer. But as we continue to sit together, your jet lag will be the least of your problems. I know what happens, that the more I sit in silence with all of you, the more the Sat force accumulates, and it becomes a tangible energy field in which all of us reside. And it is like a microwave oven in that way. It doesn't necessarily have a direction. The Sat itself, it doesn't have a direction, but it is actually the vibrational field of existence. Creation, coming into creation, existing, not existing, existing, non-existing, existing, non-existing. And it's unspeakably quick. And it's a vibratory field that actually can be readily realized through someone who's oriented to the absolute, to the principle of Brahman, to the principle of that field that connects us all together. You can begin to feel that tangibility of that vibrational field of existence. Depending upon your system, it may be in your awareness or in your experience. It could create all kinds of sensations or emotions, or bringing up dreams, or activating samskaric patterns, any of which may be stored anywhere in your body. All of these are simply what it's happening in this microwaving, this micro force that is actually cooking your system to transmute it into another condition than it's habituated to, another condition than that habit of control or fear or separation, into that movement of existing. So the characteristic of it is this self-existent existence. Self-existent existence. Self-existing existence. It doesn't need existence to exist. The more you move into that field, the less you'll be in your normal self. The more your attention will not be able to go outward. The more your thoughts will slow up and become less organized, less focused. It'll be hard at times to know the difference between being awake or being asleep or in dream. There will be this dissolving of your habitual sense of self in this vibrational energetic field, which, if your body's not trained with it, can and will at times be uncomfortable, and at other times will start a process of awakening the hidden energies that locked in your body, creating the Kundalini Shakti, the sense of energies moving in your body. For some of you, when your nervous system, if your nervous system is organized along the channel of the spine and the chakras, then you may have a very definite sense of direction as this energy field starts activating. But most Westerners, their Kundalini, their energetic body is not such organized, so it can be in very diffuse in different ways, showing up in different pockets of your body in simultaneously, and maybe in complete different vibrations at the same time, so that you can be in extreme discomfort and feeling that there is no thought, no person, just the discomfort, and all there is this simultaneous discomfort. A paradox of simultaneous things can be happening in you. When it aligns with the Kundalini, it will be an ascending action or a descending action. When the Kundalini gets active, it can start interfacing into the rest of your body in a web, awakening structures in you that didn't know they needed to be awakened, creating back pain, knee pain, hip pain, digestion problems. This is what it's like when you come into a microwave. Everything will get cooked that's capable of getting cooked. What's remarkable is that parts of you don't get cooked. The fact that parts of you don't get cooked goes to show you either it's transparent and there's nothing left to cook, or it's so embedded the field can't enter into it, at least not in the time in any one moment. Ultimately, how we make our awakening, our realization, our enlightenment real is when the body can align with the consciousness, where we can create a match between the quality of you in your awakened state and the body's unawakened condition. And this bringing together, this matter and spirit, is a process of transformation. So this energetic field is what does it. And over days, and we're talking days now, where we're going to be sitting together for 6 hours a day, the Sat force will come in. It'll come in, it'll come in, and then come in. Remember I say 45 minutes a day, twice a day when you're home? Well, this is a lot more than 45 minutes. This is a lot more. It starts building a quantum in you that you wouldn't be able to do except for this intentional, purposeful setting. And with someone who knows the Sat, who is able to bring that through their own experience into the space. This is a unique opportunity. So the willingness, the letting go, the surrender, to step away from your story or the complaint or, oh my God, I can't stand this one more second. To be able to notice that and then feel that instead of letting the mind create an impossible situation for yourself. I've had people share that everything from ready to vomit, to lose control of their bowels, to lose control of their body, come up for them in the process of this. And what success of it is they stayed where they were as best they could. And most times they didn't lose control of their bowels, nor did they vomit. They did faint fairly often. So sorry we don't have carpets. It takes some of the abruptness of fainting out of it when you have carpets. But all right, so it's not normal here. It won't be normal. If you haven't been a 9-day, if you've only done a Sat weekend, or if you've done a 6-day. I mean, a 6-day, we throw in a lot of entertainment. So you're being cooked, but you're being entertained while you're being cooked. Here, there's not going to be a lot of entertainment. It's just going to be what is, and then more of what is, and then more and more and more and more of what is, until you don't want to have anything to do with what is. And then you know you're really doing the work. So I tell you, it's a different criteria, different way of evaluating how successful this program is going to be. Okay, I think you got it. It's gone.
Okay. Meet the void. There is a shadow side of ourselves, the void. This is a dimension of our nature that is the storehouse of all our voids, our avoided experiences. In this retreat, you may begin to experience these avoided experiences. This is necessary. These may appear as a familiar negative mood, a depression, or a compulsive pattern of thinking that seems to swallow you. You may feel fearful, anxious, or judgmental, or you may feel irritated or angry. But be alert. These are not ordinary experiences. They are due to the pressure of the Sat that is trying to manifest itself in you.
Okay, I think that's self-evident. Let's go on.
That's okay. Be present. Being here now in the present moment has a power to shift our relationship with existence. It is a power that arises when we drop our habitual patterns of thinking and reacting and move into an immediate and direct relationship with what is arising without a story, judgment, or belief. For being present is how we develop presence. This quality is essential for penetrating into the remaining hidden structures and unexperienced experiences that make up the inner void we have spent our life avoiding.
It's interesting because this really speaks to something about the void. Because the nature of the void is actually truth. The thing you're avoiding, the thing you don't want to experience, is your doorway to the truth. Now you can't control that. You can't make yourself go into the void. Rather, you have to just be aware that you're coming up with something you don't know how to be with. Or you don't have the ability to discern how to stay with that. See, the nature of the void is it's basically like a door where nothing is happening or you're afraid of what's going to happen. It can have multiple expressions where nothing is happening. It's a void because nothing is happening. You've been voided. It's unpleasant. You don't like it. That's one expression. The other expression is you're meeting probably not the avoided experience, but the compensating structures to avoid the avoided experiences. See, if you have a trauma or if you have an event that in the course of your life you didn't know how to be with, it leaves an impression which the individual ego identity doesn't know how to be with it. So it creates a veil. It creates a veil of fear. Actually, the first expression of something we don't know how to be with may be terror, but it's usually a disassociation. We just literally don't know that we don't know how to be with what had just happened. So think of a young child being slapped or thrown across the room, or some kind of accidents or violence where it comes unexpected. The nature of the moment of the event in the child is saved as an unwanted experience, as one of these avoided experience, traumatized moments where our existence, at least from the vantage point of the ego, was threatened in some way. And then what comes with that may be terror. If you're conscious enough, you may have terror, or maybe dread, or fear is more common. And the nature of dread or terror or fear is we don't want to experience that either. because that's kind of like the void. When you experience the thing that protects you from the void, in one sense, you're actually getting in the vicinity of the void itself that created that strategy, that way of protecting yourself from it. So then you create another layer of fear, terror, or of avoidance so that you don't have to feel the fear, terror, or avoidance that was directly associated with the event. And so it becomes layered and layered and layered until you don't know what the hell you're afraid of. You don't know what the hell, why you're always anxious. You don't understand the stress. Now, the reason this has happened is because the consciousness that we had when we were younger was not able to hold the same kind of content that our consciousness can handle when we're older. That as an individual organizes over the course of its developmental phases, it gains greater and greater capacity to be with events of life, that even sudden events of life. Except for those areas where you met life before you were ready for it, which I called meeting truth before you're ready for it. So what happens when you meet an event in life where your adult ego can handle it, but your wounded child can't? That even though you can understand it, even though you can rationalize it, even though you can kind of manage it, there is this little instability, this terror, this shuddering in this part of you that is being threatened from past time, not being threatened present time. The truth is the adult relationship with it is more accurate than the child relationship with it. But the child doesn't know that. The child doesn't know it because the adult doesn't know that it has to go in and enter that child consciousness. It has to go and make sure it takes care of that wounded or damaged or threatened part of yourself. You as an adult, as an awakened, self-aware being who now is on the spiritual path and carries some awareness and some spiritual energy, has the power to enter into relationship to that primal trauma and heal it through being with it. You can hold the identity you were at the time of the trauma, if you can get to that point, or you can explore that within your meditation to find those moments that you have not been able to be with, or which activate you in some way where you become desperate, frantic, unstable, fearful, withdrawn. And then find yourself. Find that person you were. Find the age you were. Find the place you were. You may already know the circumstances, but when you're in touch with the current reflection of the earlier life experience, a door opens to the unexperienced experience. And you can follow that down into the lineage of your life events, and you can meet it. You can meet it. If you can't meet it in your adult consciousness, then you can imagine what it's like for the child, what it was like for you. And be there, it's my suggestion, in as much a loving embrace as you can produce. And you will dissolve that particular scar, that particular wounding in your consciousness. It will heal, it will knit back together so that that particular structure can be healed and completed. You could just basically say the root would be cut. That would keep feeding that trauma. And then all you have to deal with is the subsequent adaptations of your life to compensate for that trauma, which is now healed. And then you have to meet them as they come up. Now they will start unraveling. They start unraveling quite quickly. When you have come and met that, and you heal that in the same way you healed the origin, you heal it at each stage of your life. You know, if you got into a car accident when you were a child or fell out of a car, and then every time you get into a car, there is going to be some double checking the doors are locked or some uncertainty if somebody else is driving. So you can go into your experience and start finding this pattern in you associated with automobiles, associated with fire, associated with sharp objects, associated with people speaking loudly. Because these are Pavlovian programmings. And they usually are ones that have been repeated. So you just begin to find the thread and meet the thread and try to meet yourself in each one of those pieces, those moments, intervals of now, where these sunk in. Because that's what it was. It was a moment of now that you couldn't be with in a younger state of consciousness. And you can heal that in this moment of now by bringing it up or allowing it to arise. Now, it takes time to build this kind of settling down so you can do this, but you will get there, probably by day 3 or 4. You will get into this place where you as the perceiver, you as the experiencer, will be vibrating at a different frequency than usual. And you will be able to see and experience and enter into these points and moments of now accumulated in fear or resistance or obscurity. So this is the opportunity of this getting simple, getting quiet. Don't let the outer world distract you. Pretend you have no past. There is no house to go back to. There's no bills to pay or taxes to pay or relationships to deal with. It's all gone. Just imagine, pretend it's all gone so you can create a sacred interval for yourself. So you can deeply enter into the moment of nowness that's going to become more and more available as a means of continually deepening your truth of what you are, the authority that you truly are, that divine presence that you truly are. And if nothing comes up, don't believe it. Don't believe it. Sit there in nothing and just say, okay, nothing's happening. I'm not feeling anything. I'm just here right now. I don't know what to do. Be in the nothing. It's simply a veil. Simply, usually, a mental, habitual pattern of avoidance that acts as a obscured, semi-transparent, like maybe this is it. If it says this is it, then it's probably not. You have to realize if this is it, I'm big spaciousness, I'm right here in this expanded place, it's all just fine, this is all there is, then it isn't it. If you're in the actual now, you'll know it. It won't be nothing happening. The now is immediacy. The now has a quality of being that is extraordinarily different than the ordinary nowness of our human life. And as our frequency, our habitual quality of experiencing and knowing starts refining, we begin to perceive and experience more and more tangibly the quality of that now, which otherwise may seem like nothing happening. Find this divine in the dull, in the ordinary, in the plain, in the simple, in the nothing happening conversation. And you will enter into that nature of what you are more deeply. And of course, if your system is responding to the energy, you won't even think or remember to do this because you'll be in an automatic transformation process. Different issues get cooked without you having to apply any effort. So you ride with whatever is happening if it's happening spontaneously. But if you do have a gap, if you do have opportunity, especially when you're not sitting, to find what is there, to take a breath, to be in your body and notice, okay, what's going on? You'll begin to find entry points to whatever is still obscured in you that you haven't been able to move into relationship with up until now. Okay.
Okay.
Be the cause.
Be the cause. Okay.
No mind.
I was rereading Be Present. So while in this retreat, try not to assign the cause of any unwanted or negative thought, experiences, or sensations that may arise to something outside yourself. Instead, look inward and seek to find the source of what is arising. Enter into whatever you are experiencing by being present with it in the state of presence. Being present is the same as being in a state of presence. The now is a timeless moment and carries inherent within it the thought itself. Each time you come to cause, the thought within you is revealed.
So when you come to cause, usually the moment before you were crapped out. The moment before you weren't in responsibility with your own reaction. The moment before you were plugged in, upset, shamed, or blaming. You're in your story, you completely believe it, and you catch yourself. You're going to have roommates. You're going to have people who you'll have chance encounters with. You'll have circumstances that'll rise up and trigger you. This is learning to come to presence to the fact that you're reacting, that you're an impulsion, that you're plugged in, that you've been activated. When you do that, in that moment, you not only come to being present with actually what's happening, but you are the presence that has come to presence with that actually happening. That quality of meeting that which you hadn't been aware of before and recognizing that this is your own experience. Now that's the key, because you can be present with what is happening and you'll be making a story about how the world did this to you. How this car situation, this food, this roommate, this temperature, this rain, this whatever may arise for you is doing it to you. So you have to know that you are your machinery, the body you inhabit that stores all the patterns and tendencies and adaptations and impulses and reactions of your life is been activated. The button's been pushed. And you're the one that is the only one that can notice it's your button. So, you know, the Scientology has this method of getting cleared. And how they get you cleared is they say things, they speak words, and watch how your body reacts. And when they see that, then they start probing into how you reacted, poking it, taking you until to the core of whatever that reaction is. Now, we don't have this equipment. Probably would be a violation of some kind of patent. So we're not going to do that here. But you can, in consciousness, begin to exaggerate or penetrate into what you notice gets reacted, but only if you can use your body as the measure of it, not your mind. Your mind may be activated, but what really activated the mind was where this reaction, this habit structure has been stored in the system your body represents. And there's an interface between consciousness and matter. So part of it's body, part of it's consciousness and time tangled with your body. It could be in your liver and your kidney. It's consciousness tangled up with that liver and kidney. And the issue that gets activated triggers and sets off this biochemical flood and you're in reactivity. Yeah, the body is responding to the consciousnness. And it's in this interface where we get hooked in and are kept hooked in. So when we can come back and notice you're activated, the next step we're going to talk about is trying to find its location in your body, trying to meet the energetic translation of the emotion or the reaction or the whatever that activation was as an experience, an energetic experience in your body with a location. Once you've done that, you're starting to weave a pattern of healing of the part of you that has not been able to be in your body in that way before. Okay, so I'm not expecting you to remember this, but it's a principle of the nature of coming into embodiment is to come to personal responsibility, whatever emotional or mental activation or physical activation is going on. You can go beyond cold. You can go beyond heat. You can go beyond discomfort. You can go beyond feeling the need to pee. You can go beyond restlessness or the pain in your butt. You can go beyond any of it by meeting it as energy in your body. Once you get rid of the story, the mind, emotional, physical body interface, once you can dismantle that structure and it just becomes a sensation or an energy in your body, you're in presence. You're more in the now. Now is not necessarily happy or comfortable, by the way. Now can be really the place you don't want to be. It can also be the other, but it's the nature of the now always has the immediacy. And if you look at the immediacy of pain, something's really happening in pain. It's actually happening. One of the greatest embodiers is physical pain. People make huge transformational movements by being in pain for hours or days or weeks or months or years, because it forces an embodiment ultimately. Even though you take pain medications and you're in resistance and all this, if you can bring your consciousness to it, it becomes a means of coming into existence, because pain is simply being in existence more than you can tolerate. Ability to be in existence more than we tolerate, just like excitement. You can get so excited, it's painful. Right? So pain is just excitement, but at a threshold you called too much. And excitement is evidence of something coming into existence that hasn't been allowed to come into existence before. So the usual rules of avoiding pain and seeking pleasure isn't going to be helpful to staying in the now. The now is the pleasure is the lullaby. It's all going to be good. That has a role to play for you as a developmental child or an adolescent or at different stages of life, but it has no utility with you as an awakened adult striving to know the truth of reality in itself, in existence. So the lullaby, the feeling good and the pleasure is just the anesthesia. It's the fruit, perhaps, of previous work, but usually it's just the guna cycle that allows you to take a break. It will pass, and before you know it, you'll be in the shit again. So you want to find some way of being in existence where even when the lullaby is there, you're not being fooled. You're in presence. You're able to be in the right relationship where you're not clinging it, not trying to control it, but can enjoy it and let it move on to its next expression. The Bhagavad Gita calls this the gunadic, where you go beyond the three gunas, where pleasure or pain become equal, happiness or sorrow become equal, friend or enemy becomes equal. This coming into an equal relationship in existence is a process of you becoming more and more consciously, purposefully in presence, in responsibility for your own experience, in your own authority. So everything can serve if you're conscious of the opportunity. What is really happening is the search for truth. What is causing this to arise? What is my relationship with what is arising? Moving into that either through the inquiry of the intelligence, not necessarily the mental, the intelligence, the curiosity, the scientist, the explorer, or moving into a relationship with it as a sensation or emotion or a pattern, a story, a script that you've been running without knowing that you've been running it. Because the moment you catch yourself running a story or running a script or running a racket, you can discover its cost in your life. You can discover how it's obscured you from all other previous moments of now, where perhaps love was available, perhaps a greater truth was available, perhaps a greater wholeness or opportunity was available, and you couldn't see it, nor could you act on it. You're the one, no matter what is the source, who's responsible for the programming and the conditioning and the cumulative impressions that you've gathered in this life that are currently running and living you. You're the only one who can begin to unwind a completely compelling belief when those lower, less developed parts of ourselves take over the present moment and we're suddenly thrown into past time or into anxiety of the future. Any place but here and now. Okay.
Listen to the body. It can help to put your attention on the part of your body that is being impacted by these experiences. Notice where the experience is felt in your body. It may be a sensation, pressure, discomfort, pain, or numbness. Whatever comes up, try not to judge it or push it away. Just be present with it without moving or making noise for as long as possible.
Continue.
Pay attention. What sensations, thoughts, or feelings are you experiencing? Pay attention to them. Expand them. Let them fill your attention and be with them, experiencing yourself as the cause and not attributing your experience to something outside yourself, either from the past, the future, or now in the present situation. Do this without taking any action.
Okay. So pay attention right now. Right now, pay attention to what's going on with you. Check in. Go into your body. Notice if you're holding tension. Notice if you're going out. Notice if you have any thoughts or not. Notice if you are just here now or not. Are you aware of any sensations, any discomfort, any pressure? So pay attention. Spend a few moments checking out your body. Check out your legs, your hips, your torso, your heart, your back, your arms, to see if there's anything in your body or what in your body is reflective of what you're feeling right now or what you're aware of right now. See if you can catch yourself in a compensating structure. Anything other than silent and still. Breathe. And then notice what happens or what's happening. Notice if there's a story, an emotion, a script, a familiar old mood or attitude. Breathe into that. You can breathe into your head. You can breathe into your heart. You can breathe into and exhale from any part of your body. The breath carries the prana, the life force, the consciousness. Okay, that's enough. Too many of you are in jet lag. Hard to be present when you're unconscious.
Okay.
All right. Okay, there's an example.
Oh.
The example is just take a moment of now. Steal a moment of now from a habit of you. Grab it and just stop. And then be and check in, tune in. Let you use these time that you have as opportunities to catch yourself with whatever it is that's going on, like just before lunch, or just when you wake up, or just when you just did something you weren't supposed to do. Wake up and catch yourself in the act of doing you, being you, thinking you. Just catch it. Because every time you interrupt the script, the one image every 1/24th of a second of the story of you, and you cut it, you have an opportunity to create a field, to meet a field of now. When I was working my family's theater as the projectionist, and the film broke, what would happen is when it stopped, the image that was stuck in the stream of light slowly grew more and more luminous, more and more transparent. And then it just burned away. And all there was this radiant, white, luminous screen. So you're running a script, you're running the film of you, and you're in charge. You got a set of scissors that can cut that script and watch it unravel and bring forward that self-existent existence, which illuminates everything. Stop it in the middle of it, and you gain, each time you do that, you regain that authority, that divine reality that can do that, to break the structure of the false authority, the false reality that you've been habituated to. Stop it. Action, cut. Right? They had it figured out in making movies. You're just playing out, making the movie of your life, except you're running the same old script, hoping for a commercial. But you can cut it. You can stop it. You're the one that can break the pattern by choosing to meet it, as we're describing here, through your breath, through entering into your body, into this moment of now, as a conscious moving into presence with whatever is happening, meeting it as energy within your body. So let your day have 25 moments of now. Okay, that's your job. Divide it in the periods of the day and just keep picking moments of now. I recommend you don't do them all at once. Stay in the remembrance of catching yourself in the act of you and meeting what that is. And the rest of the time you can be in bliss and light or unconscious or whatever else comes up for you. Do that much. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The experience will begin to speak to you. It will tell you about itself. Keep listening until the sensations, experiences, or thoughts fade, disappear, or break through. This is the process of transformation. At first, this may be difficult, but as you succeed in integrating the force of the thought, it will become easier and easier. Here are some suggestions for listening to your body. Consciously withdraw your attention from the outer circumstances. You can do this by closing your eyes or leaving them open, but not focusing on anything. Become aware of your body. Become aware of your breathing. It may help to consciously breathe. Become aware of the energy in your body. Become aware of any pressure, pain, or other sensation. Focus your attention on that. Listen to what it is saying.
Okay, so this is why we call it a manual. It's useful perhaps to go and read this again, to remind yourself of the opportunity, because if you don't read it again, well, your old way of doing this will be running you. You're teaching yourself a different way to be, at least during these 9 days, with the intention of it becoming a way that you can bring into a way of being that you can bring into the rest of your life, right? This is where we're going. We're looking to set a trajectory where you can wake up to your personal responsibility for the unfolding of your own divine capacity. This is the opportunity. So therefore, it's work. It's work because the inertia, the habit, has its own momentum, and it seems like it's not working, like it's natural. But it's not natural. It's the programming that you've allowed to run you. And therefore, it's habituated. It's familiar. It's comfortable. But for the most part, it doesn't work. For the most part, it's getting in the way of the opportunity of you to manifest yourself as a divine being. Okay, so this isn't a mental strategy. It's not a right or wrong or good or bad. It is about learning how to come into existence as a being, to bring yourself into existence, into the becoming, being in existence. And in that immediacy, you'll succeed. When you succeed, there will be peace. There'll be clarity. There'll be presence. There will be this sense of being alive. That's evidence that you just stopped your script. You just cut the film. There will be spaciousness or peace, expansion or freedom. It can be in any quadrant of your human capacity for experience. The mind will shut up. There'll be a break in the sequence of the endless repetition of thinking and anticipating and story making. It'll be a break from you. That's how you'll know it. And in that moment, you'll be more alive. You'll be more here. You'll be more of what the Sat is pointing to, that principle of truth that existed before you were born and existed after you die. That premise, that fundamental principle in which all of this story of your life is but a fraction of a moment in the eternity of your journey. Okay. So, and the other thing is, if you looking to fill your time, this is an acceptable diversion. We have copies in the back of the room. Commercial break, see? The Gita speaks about what I speak of. Everything I do is derived from the Bhagavad Gita. All the wisdom and the teachings of the Gita has been translated, revealed through that book and through this continuous development of the ability to drink of the nectar or to hear the song that the Gita is. To allow it to take you over, to allow it to enter into your life. I do suggest another practice is to write the Gita. And if you don't have the little blue books, because they're not out, start writing the revelations out of the book. Watch. The body loves that way of learning. When you write the words, they enter into you more than the way they can enter into you through your listening or through your seeing. They become kinetically entering into that physicality of sensation and life and breath and movement. If you did nothing but wrote the first 6 chapters, you would get all the value you need to get. The quality of your experiencer and perceiver is going to expand each day. It's going to see more deeply. It's going to move into a more direct relationship with yourself and with existence. And the Gita, in that same way, will deepen and enrich its ability to bring you aligned with the unfolding of what it is you are. That's my invitation. Okay, so then we're going to finish with let's do a half an hour sitting. This will be a relatively short meditation. And I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll see you at 6, but you'll be in this room at 5:50, right? 5:50. That means you have to get out of bed, do whatever you're going to do, get dressed. And there's other things we have to do after we do this sitting, which is to set up the room.
Right. So what's going to happen is Jan is going to come up and work with you give you instructions on how to set the room up for meditation. The other instruction is that we don't have assigned seats. So we ask that if you are sitting in the front row today, that tomorrow you sit in the back and let people, so there's a natural moving around in the room. Okay. So we all share the seats one by one or in whatever fashion. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Tom, can you handle lights? No, let's leave that. Unless we can get a light in the back and turn this one off. Is there one light back? Okay, turn that one on. Go ahead. Okay, good. Yeah. There you go. Nice. Lullaby. Yeah. All right, and tonight the silence will begin as soon as you leave the room. There may be some questions or maneuvering, but as soon as you leave the room, it's silence of the program begins.